Thomas Massie, to me, is the congressional representative that best represents the people of the United States. This is a person who, unlike anybody, and I mean anybody, with maybe the exception of Rashida Tlaib, but that's only because she happens to be Palestinian and her family has several family members that have been killed in Gaza and defied the Democratic establishment and said, I'm not supporting Biden or Harris. And that is to her credit. But of course, she's basically been ostracized, not a surprise. And in the case of Thomas Massie, you have the president of the United States trying to get $20 million behind a primary challenger to run against him in Kentucky's 4th district. What that tells me is the establishment is also very concerned that people are getting out of line, which is a great thing. But then Congressman Massie has this to say, I believe, a day or two ago.
Also, I'm going to say this here on camera because it's important. One of Kash Patel's staff threatened my staff with a criminal investigation if we didn't straighten up and play ball.
So a sitting Congress member is being threatened by the Department of Justice. Just like this is crazy stuff.
I love the fact that he doesn't care. Like he genuinely is like, oh, please bring it on. I have 0 F's to give. I've been through hell and back over the past several years, and you guys can throw all the darts you want at me. This is not going to shake me. Do you, Mr. Baker, see yourself in a similar rogue-like capacity in the same type of conduct, basically saying, I'm not here to make nice. I'm here to serve the members of my district, and I'm also here to try to help save my country. Will you conduct business in a similar capacity to Mr. Massie, should you get to Congress in the next year?
Damn straight I will.
Well, there's no other way to be. No. And I think that that's always the thing that always concerned the most amount of people when Jen was running against Wasserman Schultz. The big difference that I can see is in this moment, and why I think you have a puncher's chance, is that Wasserman Schultz is a cottage industry. She's been in Broward County politics, not just at the federal level, but at the state level combined for over a generation. And she has all of her pawns on the chessboard in a whole bunch of different places, a lot of powerful infrastructure on top of a district that's not walkable. That you're talking about a lot of gated walls and all that stuff. You move up the Central Coastline into an area where you're challenging a representative who's only in the middle of his first term. It does open up a lot of opportunities because he doesn't really have all those chess pieces on the board that he just to and say, you better get in line. So I ask you, how are your relationships right now with some of, let's say, the Volusia County Republican Party, any of those organizations? How's that going so far?
So I'll tell you, the Volusia County Republican Party is probably the most difficult. The Volusia County chairperson is probably the most difficult. I have a good relationship in Lake, Marion, Putnam, St. Johns, and Flagler counties. Very good relationship in those 5 counties. Volusia, I kind of played the end around game. Last night I was at one of the other, the Republican Club of Northeast Volusia. And, that club has about 270 members, very active people that all live, in the Ormond Beach area. So I have figured out when someone is not friendly, I play the end around game of, okay, you're not, you might not be the best. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the Atlantic Federated Republican Women's Christmas party, and I'm going to make sure that I have the biggest gift basket out of every single person there. And I'm going to make sure that you remember my name. And of course, you're going to remember my name because I was there last year also during the special election. So what's happened is all these people that were kind of unsure during the special election, well, I guess we better vote the way President Trump told us. They've had a year now to see me every month, every weekend, or, one of the events that I go to is First Friday in Flagler. Well, guess what? I set my tent up right next to the Republican tent. And anytime they're doing an event, I make sure that I sponsor it. One way that I've been able to make inroads is I'm a big firearm person, and my brother is a federal firearm dealer. So anytime somebody's holding like a Lincoln Reagan dinner, like they did in Lake County,
Sure.
I donate a Glock 19, and then they auction it off, and everybody's like, "Oh, donated by Aaron Baker." That did the same thing in Flagler County, did the same thing in Putnam County. Anywhere across the state that I can get name recognition at a lower price than paying for a $30,000 TV spot, so that everyone knows who I am. Specifically in Flagler County, I mean, they made these huge posters, like 3 foot by 4 foot, and put them everywhere in Flagler County for 2 months before they auctioned the gun off, and in big giant letters it said donated by Aaron Baker.
Smart.
I'm figuring out ways to make inroads that most people think that you have to have millions and millions and millions of dollars. My cost per vote during the special primary was $6. Randy Fine's cost per vote was over $100.
Correct.
So I don't need the 13 million or whatever it took.
You just need enough.
I just need enough.
You just need enough.
I just need enough. And I think that's really probably maybe $1 million. I think that would get it done. Because if you look at it side by side, I'm the hometown kid. I grew up on Daytona Beach. I was born in Lakeland. Spent all my summers here. Versus, the Hamburglar. I mean
you got it wrong, my brother. You got it wrong. He's
Grimace.
He's Grimace.
He's Grimace.
Real.
Grimace.
But
let this finish so we can move on, and then I have some thoughts also about let it finish.
I was going to ask you about that, but since you brought it up, and I didn't,
I'm bringing it up.
Okay, you brought it up,
and so. Like a criminal investigation having nothing to do, he said it was going to be a fraud. We're going to investigate one of your staff for fraud. Right. And he told another one of my staff this: if you guys don't straighten up, if you want to play hardball, if this is how you want to play it or something like that, this member of your staff is going to get criminally investigated for fraud. A very specific threat.
That's some nerve. Okay, so this was my thought. So of any of the people that are running in your Republican primary, if anybody who doesn't, get Randy Fine's seat, some of these people need to at least go try to challenge Brian Mast. You just got to go a little further south. Somebody's got to go down a little further south and get that piece of shit out too.
Without naming, please, go ahead.
I've talked to Dr. Rechtenwald about that, and there's conversations behind the scenes also.
Good, because he's another problem. So yeah, good.
Now, clearly, without naming any names, because politics is politics, and obviously there are several people that are in this race, and I think this is a good place to wind down the conversation. There are clearly people that are in this race because they genuinely want to represent the district. They want to represent the people of Congressional District 6. There are also people that are running to either protect Fine or protect the establishment. Are there people that are in this race that you have communicated with as of today where you can see the synergy of potentially collaborating going forward, especially if you become, let's say, the front-running challenger to Randy, that they ultimately would coalesce behind you to make sure that you guys get Randy out next summer?
So I spoke to one of the candidates before he filed, and Governor DeSantis has a good saying: stop electing squishy Republicans. Well, the one that I sat down and had lunch with beforehand is a squishy Republican. You can take him, mold him like Play-Doh into whatever special interest he needs to serve. So that's a big X. I had lunch with another one in Daytona Beach last week and asked him a very specific question about something, if he was being supported by someone else. And he said, yes, absolutely. Well, I guess he didn't think that I knew the someone else that I was asking about, but I do. And later that day, I just happened to run into that certain someone else. So I know that the other person flat out lied to my face. So really, there are three of us that are challenging. The other people that are running as Republicans, I've tried to reach out to them. They simply just filed paperwork, but they haven't shown any campaign records yet. I mean, anybody can file preliminary paperwork.
Yep.
It costs you $0. There's no fee until qualification comes around, where you either have to pay $10,440 or you have to have all your petitions turned in. I'm the only one that's actually turned in any petitions so far, and I'm continuing to do it. I have probably 1,000 at my office to turn in, and I am in this to win it. I am in this because I believe. I believe that someone has to take care of the people here.